the Long Beach Breakwater. You got about a 2.5-mile ride from there. Takes approximately 15 to 20 minutes to get through the harbor and 10 minutes to get to the wall. We'll see you out. First of all, I'd like to show you this lead head. This is a size 3/0 hook out here that we have, and it's real common to see people use these hooks out here on the breakwater. I've kind of gotten away from them, and I went to this hook they call a True Turn bass hook. It's a 3/0 also. It's got a little dog leg in it right there. And when you set the hook, this hook twists, spins around, and it seems like you hook more fish that way. In addition to that, I use a 3/4 or 1 ounce sliding sinker. And I use this because if you get hooked on a rock or a piece of moss down there, this sliding sinker, you can whip your line, it'll come down, act like a slide hammer, and knock the hook off of the rock or the moss or whatever you're stuck on. And you can save a lot of time tying your hooks by going to that system. Hook. Then take yourself a Mojo, slide the hook right down through the center of the Mojo, and bring it out just before you get to the tail. Then take yourself a strip of squid about a 1/2 inch wide, about 4 inches long. You fold it in double just like that, and then stick the hook through it. So your system looks a little like that. Now it's real important to make sure you got sharp hooks out here. And you want to check them periodically. I got a little sharpening stone on my knife sheath right here. And I just want to make sure that that hook is razor sharp. Now we're going to show you a little bit about casting up against the wall, using the drift to your advantage, using the wind to your advantage, and hopefully we're going to catch ourselves some fish. Use 15-pound test mono. You can use up 25, 30-pound test mono. As I was saying, the abrasion that this line has to withstand is pretty rough. These rocks have got a lot of barnacles and things like that on them. As soon as you get a strike, you drop the tip, reel in the slack, and slam them. Break their necks, because if you don't do that, you stand a real good chance of losing that fish. If you're letting the boat drag your line along, you're not going to feel those subtle bites, and you stand a better chance of losing your hook in the rocks. So make sure you throw down the drift and let your boat drift into it. Keep a real light hand on your line and reel in and bounce it from rock to rock. I just had a little strike right there. I think I lost him. Every time you get a strike, you want to reel in and check it real quick, because they have a tendency to take that squid off. And it looks like we're still doing okay. These fish live in the rocks, and that's where they feed. You drop that bait down in between those rocks, fish comes out and grabs it, and then he tries to take it back to the rocks before you have a chance to get the hook on him. That's why it's real important to pay attention to what's going on out here when you're fishing, because you can lose a fish in the rocks in a heartbeat. Well, we just got a hook up here. It feels like a nice breath. Oh, my reel's giving me some trouble here. Nice little calico. Real nice calico. That's a keeper. Never anchor out here on the wall. I like to cover as much of it as I possibly can. So I just keep drifting down, and every time I get to the end of the wall, I fire up the motor and run down to the other end and just keep drifting back. I fish about 50 feet off the wall, and about 30 feet of water is about what we're in right now. Most of the fish I catch are probably 10, 20 feet off the wall. The sculpin out here are real good eating too. They don't get too big, but they're real tasty little fish, and so are the cabezon. There's a little bite right there. Yeah, nice little calico bass. It's not too big. It's probably a keeper though. We'll measure him. Takes these bass about 5 years to get 12 inches long. So it's real important that you make sure you don't take any short fish. They don't reproduce until they get 12 inches long either. Not to mention the fact that the warden will probably get real upset with you. I imagine it's pretty stiff fine. A little measuring thing right here. That's about 13 inches. So he's a keeper. And we're gonna keep this one because we're gonna have ourselves a fish fry. Now maybe we can go out and get ourselves another bass. Okay, we got a pretty good sized fish on right here. He's a real good sized fish. Oh, broke off. Must have got caught in the rocks. I guess that's the way that goes. Took my line and everything. Well, we'll go after another one. Cut me right next to the boat there. There's not a bad calico. Take a look at him here. He's probably 12 inches, I would say. Measure him out here and see what we got. Slippery little dog, yeah, he's 13 inches. Sure is a pretty little fish. And I still got my squid, so we're gonna go back out there and see if there's any more. Maybe his daddy's out there. I just did cast that thing out there and I got a strike immediately. There goes another one. It feels so small though. That's the way it is sometimes though. You get in a lot of small fish. Then the daddy of them all comes up and takes it. You're not ready for it, so you fall all over yourself trying to boat him. Doesn't feel like too big of a fish. And it's a nice little sand bass. So we can't. He's well over 12 inches. I hooked him good that time. It's a nice little sand bass. I'd say he's probably 14 inches long or so. Little sand bass. He's a keeper though. I think he's 12 inches or more. Not a bad little fish. But I think he's eatable. I tell you what, a lot of times I catch and release, but when I'm ready to have a fish fry, I'll catch up a bunch of these, and yeah, he's 13 inches long. I'll catch a bunch of these and fillet them out, cut them in small hunks, and put them in tempura batter, and they make a mighty fine meal. Nice little calico, I think. Sure looks like it. Now that's a little bit bigger fish there. See, that's a real nice looking calico fish. I don't know what he weighs, probably, I don't know, 2-3 pounds, something like that. He looks like a keeper to me. Ah, man, I don't know if this is it feels real heavy. Not fighting a heck of a lot. It's Cabezon. Nice looking jobber too. Now that is a Cabezon. Look inside their mouth. I don't know if you can see that in there, but they're nice and blue. You see how they swallow the bait? Not only that, they don't have any scales at all. They're real smooth. And they got these like big wings on them. And they're real soft fish. Real soft, but they're delicious eating. Absolutely delicious eating. That's a pretty nice Cabezon for out here at the wall. I've caught a little bit bigger, but that's, as a rule, I'd say that's a pretty good sized fish. Well, we've been fishing out here for quite a little while now. It's almost 11 o'clock. And the bite's starting to taper off. There's a nice little fish. It doesn't feel too big. Oh, we got ourselves a sculpin. Not a bad sculpin either. Now these are the ones you really got to watch out for, because these sculpin, those spines are poisonous, and you will swell up like you wouldn't believe with if you get stuck by one of those spines. So make sure you stay real clear. of them. He's hooked real good right there in the mouth. They're pretty fish. They're rock fish, and they live on the bottom. There's actually no size limit on them. I think we're going to keep this one, and hopefully we'll catch a couple more. Got a nice cabezon here. Real nice looking calico. That's a beauty there. Some sand bass. A nice sculpin. This is a nice sand bass.